Okay, good afternoon, everyone. This is the Recycled Water Committee of the Monterey One Water. This is our regular meeting on Thursday, June 19th, 2025 at 3 p.m. We're here in the boardroom for Monterey One Water at Harris Court, Monterey. I'm calling this meeting to order. I will note that all members of the committee are present with the exception of Vice Chair Kent Habina, who is not present today. Actually, I took your
That's okay.
I took your job there. Sorry, I was had a meeting last night, but
Veranda,
yeah.
Castroville,
Here.
Marina Coast,
Here.
Monterey,
Here.
Pacific Grove.
Here. Okay, we'll go to item 3, additions to the agenda. Mr. Shooter, do we have any additions to the agenda?
No additions.
Okay, so I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved. Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Williamson, second by Moore. Take it to a voice vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes unanimously. This is, we'll go to item 5, public comment. This is matters not appearing on today's agenda. If anyone wishes to make a comment on matters not appearing on today's agenda, please do so now. We'll take the audience first. There are members today. Seeing none, we'll go to online. Would anyone online wish to make a general public comment about something not on the agenda?
Again, and those of you joining on Zoom, please use your Zoom hand to raise your hand to speak.
Seeing none, we'll go ahead and close general public comment. And we will move to item 6, business items, and consider first 6A, the Recycled Water Committee minutes of the last meeting. So I'll entertain a motion to approve.
Move approval. Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Voice vote, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that carries unanimously. Go to item 6B. Item 6B, and I'm trying to find it in my packet. This is a fairly
Page 11.
large packet today here.
Committee meeting.
And we'll invite Johanna Vargas to present on item 6B.
Good afternoon, members of the committee. Johanna Vargas, Grants and Contracts Administrator, and I'll be presenting this item. Monterey One Water has been serving as the program administrator for the Monterey Regional Storm Management Program. The program consists of the jurisdictions of Carmel by the Sea, Delray Oaks, Monterey, Pacific Grove, Sun City, Seaside, and the County of Monterey. Each entity operates as a co-permittee under the NPDES permit, which mandates a range of outreach and educational activities addressing stormwater management. As a program administrator, M1W provides essential coordination and support for the activities required by the permit. On February 24, 2025, M1W staff issued a request for proposals from up to 3 qualified consultants to provide education, outreach, and communication services. M1W received a total of proposals from 6 different firms. We evaluated the proposals, all of the proposals by M1W staff and 2 representatives from the management committee. After the technical proposals were evaluated, we did a short list of the top 3 firms, and they were invited for an interview. Once the interview process was complete, the committee decided that the most qualified consultant to provide the services was Environmental Innovations. This selection was recommended to the management committee on April 23, 2025, and it was accepted. The fiscal impact is the stormwater program approved their budget for the 25-26 on April 23, 2025. This budget included the funds for the outreach consultant. And M1W's approved 25-26 budget includes the stormwater management program budget. The recommendation is that the Recycled Water Committee recommend that the board award a contract for the Monterey Regional Stormwater Program Management Program, public education outreach, and public involvement participation services to Environmental Innovations in the not to exceed amount of $147,768. And I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much. Any director questions or comments? Director Williamson?
Has this come in front of us before?
No, it hasn't. This is the first time that I bring it out to this.
This particular contract,
yeah.
this concept in the past has definitely come before the board.
Okay. This is very cool. I'm happy to see that we're engaging in this. And before I get into my questions, I also just appreciate the staff report and how it includes the scoring. I think that's really helpful and helps with transparency. So it's nice to see how we came up with the selection. So thank you for that.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Is there going to be another opportunity to provide feedback input in regards to kind of what that program looks like, or just don't know if now is the time to talk about it or ask those questions related to it, or
Now would be great if you could ask questions, and the reason being then we can prepare better for the board meeting if you would like. Certainly, although Johanna's doing the presentation, there is a stormwater committee from each of your, well, not each of your respective cities, but at least a couple of them, and then others that provide direction in establishing the scope of work and how we move forward.
okay. Just to share a little bit of background in regards to my particular interest in this is that this is something I've been trying to work on in the city of Monterey. And I think we can all do a better job of community engagement and outreach. And this isn't to be critical of how we operate. I think Monterey One actually does particularly well comparative to other local agencies. But I think that there's a way that we can engage folks that don't often hear what's going on. And so just wanted to at least offer some thoughts about it and take it or leave it, but just kind of putting it out there. I think it's important to connect with nonprofit organizations that focus on underserved communities. So, you know, for the African American community, NAACP, the Latino community, LOLAC, thank you, LULAC, Monterey Peninsula Pride for the queer community. I mean, there's just kind of thinking in that way in regards to what those organizations are, I think would be really helpful. And then the labor union, I think, is also a really critical piece to connect with the workforce. So just kind of offer that. And I can maybe connect more offline too. I don't need to go into it all right now, but I just think that kind of some intentionality around what the overall goals are.
Mhm.
Again, particularly focusing on folks that aren't calling into all the M1W committee meetings and board meetings, and maybe a little bit less removed, because we're doing a lot of cool stuff. So
Yeah.
anyways,
We are planning to, once this contract is awarded, to hold a strategic planning session with
Perfect.
environmental innovations and bring out, the new strategies moving forward for the program.
I love it. Thank you. I'll keep an eye out for that.
And in their scope, one of the items is, well, one of the many items is certainly outreach, public events, and so on, where they've identified, hey, we want to reach 1,300 people, whether it be national marine sanctuaries and others. So and certainly you can discuss other potential entities as well within the existing scope as it
Totally.
sits.
Totally. Thank you. Thank you. I'm excited
Yeah.
for this. Thank you.
Director Moore?
No comments?
All right, we'll take it out to the public. Anyone online or in chambers wish to speak on this item, 6B? Seeing none, we'll bring it back to the board for action.
Move approval?
Second.
Motion by Williamson, second by Moore. Any discussion? Further discussion? Sounds like a great program. Thank you very much. I'll take a voice vote. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, passes unanimously. Thank you so much. Move on to item 6. Let's see, or D. C. 6C. That's going to be
Page 63.
63. Okay.
I think you need some tabs in
That
it.
may be possible. Okay. This is TN Processing Controls Inc. contract, SCADA.
Yes.
All right, Mr. Rich.
All right. Thank you, Chair and board members. My name is Frank Rich. I am the Director of IS for Monterey One Water. M1W has contracted with a third party for SCADA and PLC support for several years now. In June of 2024, the most recent request for proposals for this support was released and subsequently awarded to TM Process and Controls in the not to exceed amount of $316,260. This item before you is for a 1-year extension of that contract in the not to exceed amount of $340,026, which brings the total not to exceed cost of the contract to $656,286. The professional services contract provides support for SCADA operations at all of our facilities, including the pump stations, the regional treatment plant, source water, SVRP, CSIP, and the rest of our operations. The scope of this work includes TM process and controls, providing an on-site SCADA/PLC programmer 3 days a week, and also allows for up to 40 hours of after hours and weekend emergency support services. These services provided under this contract are vital for Monterey One Water to continue to operate our SCADA systems efficiently, and very importantly, to provide accurate data and reports to both internal and external customers and entities. Based on the performance of TM process and controls, staff is recommending that the committee recommend the board approve the extension of the professional services agreement with TM process and controls for 1 year of SCADA PLC support in the not to exceed amount of $340,026. And staff is available to answer any questions.
Thank you very much, directors. Questions? Take it out to the public. Anyone wish to comment on item 6C? Anyone online wish to comment on item 6C? Seeing none, bring it back to the board for action.
Move approval. Second.
We have a motion by Moore, second by Stefani. Any further discussion? Seeing none, take a voice vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes unanimously. Thank you very much, Mr. Rich. Move on to item 6D. Page number, Paul?
89.
89.
I'm glad I have a purpose here.
You know, we always want to use our staff as best we can.
It had to be something. I mean,
All right, I'll ask Ms. Wilborn to report on 6D.
Good afternoon, Chairman, members of the committee. I'm Barbara Wilborn, Utility Supervisor. Monterey One Water currently owns a 2001 750 kW portable generator used to provide emergency backup power to the RTP or pump stations when needed. This generator is at the end of its useful life, and therefore staff assessed a Tier 4 1,000 kilowatt portable trailer mounted generator as a replacement. Notice inviting bids was placed at the Monterey County Herald on May 13th and 20th. M1W received 5 bids, 4 qualifying and 1 later non-responsive. EnergyLink provided the lowest responsible bid of $571,438.64, which includes freight and tax. This will be paid from the 24-25 Department 35 budget. Staff requests that the Recycle Water Committee recommend that the Board of Directors approve the purchase of a 1,000 kW portable trailer mounted generator from EnergyLink in the not to exceed amount of $571,438.64. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much. Any director questions? Director Moore?
What happens to the old generator, the 2001 generator?
We need to get rid of it.
So, my understanding is that there may have been some changes in air quality requirements for generators.
So the Tier 2 that we currently own that is obsolete is only good for emergency use only. The Tier 4 we hope to purchase can also be used in maintenance situations.
So how long do you think into the future, or is it unknown, that we could potentially use the old generator in emergencies?
Well, it's currently suffering some problems right now that we're unable to get parts for to repair. So we are ready to mothball this generator.
So, and as Barbara says, it's just in emergencies, and we have to determine this is an emergency that is of substance. So when she says we're going to get rid of it, we'll certainly try to surplus it. I know at other entities, we can try to sell them. They can be used in other states if someone wants to come get it, but it may be just a boat anchor.
Well, hopefully not. Hopefully somebody will give us at least $1 for it. All right, thank you.
Okay, we'll go ahead and take it out to the public. Any comment on item 6E, the generator? Seeing none, bring it back to the board or the committee for action.
I move approval.
Okay, we have a motion by
Second.
Stefani, second by Moore. Further discussion? Take a voice vote. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Seeing none, passes unanimously. Thank you very much, Ms. Wilburn. Thanks for coming out today. A new face to the meeting here. We have some new faces today. Hope you enjoy it. Not too difficult up here. Okay, we'll go to item 6F, or 6E, and I'll invite Mr. Chacon, who I met earlier, to come to the podium.
Good afternoon, Chairman and members of the committee. I am Josh Chacon, Field Maintenance Supervisor. Salinas Pump Station was built in 1984 to pump wastewater from the Salinas Valley area to our regional treatment plant. As a result of a condition assessment, it was found that the electrical power gear, what we reference to as the Motor Control Center, or MCC, switchgear installed in the early 1980s is beyond its useful life. Because cost and lead time associated with the electrical equipment, staff determined that it would be prudent to install an emergency bypass in case there is catastrophic failure of the electrical equipment. The Salinas Pump Station electrical power gear upgrade project has been placed on the capital improvement plan, and this emergency bypass will be available until the pump station upgrade can be funded. The notice inviting bids was advertised on May 15th and May 21st. Monterey One Water received one bid from Pack Machine for the amount of $673,693.75, which includes freight and tax. $500,000 for this purchase is included in the fiscal 24-25 budget. The remaining balance of $173,693.75 will be transferred from the account code outside contractors within the same budget. Staff requests that the Recycle Water Committee recommends that the board approve the award of the equipment purchase contract for a skid-mounted permanent Tier 4 final diesel powered pump CD 500 for the Salinas Pump Station to Pack Machine, and not to exceed the amount of $673,693.75. I would be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Director, questions, member questions? Take it out to the public for comment on item 6E. Seeing no one in chambers or online, we'll bring it back to the board for approval.
Move approval.
Second.
A motion by Williamson, second by Moore. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll take a voice vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none, passes unanimously. Thank you, Mr. Chacon, for coming out. And now we'll hear from Mr. Holden on item 6F. This is the outfall improvement.
Yes, so yes, page 131.
Got it.
Now he's taking Paul's job.
Yeah, well, so let's see, I expect salary increase. Yeah, so Chair Smith and members of the committee, Bob Holden, principal engineer. The board approved outfall capacity negotiation cooperation and funding agreement with Cal-Am in September 2023 with two tasks: NPDS permit, which will be on agenda item J, and outfall improvement, this item. The board approved a contract with Brown and Caldwell for the outfall improvements in January of 2024. And in January 2025, the board increased the contract to complete the 30% basis of design report for the offshore portion of the work and a 60% design for the onshore work. So the offshore work, the basis of design report, 30% design, was completed June 5th. So I'm asking now for an amendment to BNC's contract for the 60% design for the offshore facilities at a cost of $220,780. Scope and the cost breakdown are attached. There's no fiscal impact to agency. All consultants and staff fees are paid by $750,000 deposit from Cal-Am that's replenished whenever the balance falls below $200,000. I ask that the committee recommend that the board approve a contract amendment with Brown and Caldwell to raise the contract by $220,780 to a not to exceed amount of $1,456,511. I'd be happy to answer questions.
Thank you very much. Committee member questions? Okay, we'll go and take it out to the public. 6F, outfall improvements. Anyone in chamber wishing to speak? Anyone online? Okay, we're going back to the board.
Move approval. Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Williamson, second by Stefani. Any further discussion? Seeing none, take a voice vote. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? No one opposed. Passes unanimously. Thank you very much. Go on to item 6G. Page number, let me know. Oh, 142. Okay, now I'm doing page numbers. Okay.
Sorry.
I've been trying to tell you guys.
All right. Allison Imamura.
Good afternoon, Chair Smith and committee members. I'm Allison Imamura, Principal Engineer. Item 6G requests a recommendation to the board to approve a contract amendment for Kennedy Jenks for additional engineering services for the AWPF switchgear replacement project. Just a little background, after catastrophic failure of the original medium voltage switchgear in 2022, the board approved purchasing new switchgear in the form of an integrated power assembly. That occurred in 2023. The IPA integrated power assembly is scheduled to be delivered to the RTP in the first quarter of 2026. After a competitive bid process, M1W hired Kennedy Jenks in October of 2024 to design the site preparation and installation work to accept the new switchgear at the site and to connect to the Regen's electrical service from landfill gas and integrate the system to our existing system. Based on the recent work for M1W's new RTP electrical upgrade and interconnection project that you approved earlier this year, the scope of KJ's services for the AWPF switchgear replacement project must be expanded to accommodate integration of the additional switchgear. It changes the design of Kennedy Jenks' scope and requires an amendment in that way. This additional work that KJ is going to help us to complete will facilitate improving the electrical reliability at the AWPF. In addition, this contract includes some design services for adding asphalt to other areas of the AWPF to improve truck access for maintenance. The details are included in attachment 1 of your staff report. The additional engineering services require a contract amendment to increase KJ's scope and budget. The total for the amendment is $88,310 to reach a total budget of $313,855. The work for this contract amendment is going to be coming from Department 58, and there's an associated budget adjustment form attached to the staff report also. You may recall the approved budget for fiscal year 26 includes a CIP for installation of the switchgear and completion of that project within the next fiscal year. I would like to request that the Recycle Water Committee recommend to the board to approve the contract amendment with Kennedy Jenks to raise their contract amount by $88,310,000 for a total contract amount of $313,855 and also approve the associated budget adjustment form. I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you very much. Committee member questions? Okay, we'll take it to the public for public comment. Anyone online wishing to address item 6G? Seeing none, we'll take it back to the board for action.
Move approval.
Second.
A motion by Moore, second by Williamson. Any further discussion? Seeing none, voice vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, passes unanimously. Thank you, Ms. Imamura. Appreciate it. Go to item 6H. And we'll hear from Darrell Harris on this one.
Good afternoon, Chairman, members of the committee. Darrell Harris, Utilities and Maintenance Service Manager. The Regional Treatment Plant Standby Generator Switchboard provides electrical overload and overcurrent protection for the standby generator that is used to distribute 480-volt emergency power to support all electrical needs at the RTP during a commercial power failure. This equipment housed at the cogeneration facility is over 20 years old and has exceeded its useful life. The enclosure is exhibiting irreversible signs of corrosion, degrading the asset's reliability. Since the original equipment is square D, other manufacturers do not offer a retrofit option to connect to the existing bus duct, and therefore, to use a different brand of switchgear, the entire bus duct would need to be replaced. Notice inviting bids was placed in the Monterey County Herald on May 5th and 12th. Subsequently, we received one qualifying responsive bid from Edge's Electrical Group in the amount of $239,138.04. The bid included two minor deviations which neither impact the price nor provide an unfair competitive advantage. This purchase will be paid from the 24-25 Department 37 cost savings gleaned from outside contractors. Staff requested the Recycled Water Committee recommended the Board of Directors waive minor deviations in the bid submitted by Edge's Electrical Group and consider approval of the purchase of the new standby generator Square D custom switchboard in the not to exceed amount of $239,138.04 from Edge's Electrical Group. And I would be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much. Committee member questions on 6H. Okay. Yes.
What were the deviations?
They were just missing signatures in the bid form submitted.
Ah.
Legal reviewed the bid and they decided that it was minor and it could be waived.
Okay, thank you.
Take it out to the public for comment on item 6H. Anyone online wishing to speak on item 6H? I think we're mostly M1W in the chamber here. All right. We'll bring it back to the council. I was going to say the committee for action.
Move approval of staff recommendations.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Stefani, second by Moore. Any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll take a voice vote. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, passes unanimously. Thank you very much, Mr. Harris. And we'll go on to 6I. There's a lot of these. Okay.
168.
168. All right. Let's hear 6I, and there's a comma there, but I'm going to say Roman Podolkov.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Good afternoon, Chairman and members of the committee. I am Roman Podolkov, and I am a plant maintenance supervisor at Monterey One Water. Monterey One Water operates and maintains various infrastructures and facilities associated with treatment and subsequent beneficial reuse of wastewater. Excuse me. Plant Maintenance Department 35 manages the entire fleet of trucks, trailers, and heavy equipment as well. We often use a heavy-duty mobile crane to support all our maintenance activities. In such cases, Monterey One Water must rent a crane services costing over $100,000 per year. For example, this year we're already over $120,000 just the rental fee. To reduce rental cost and downtime of equipment, but more importantly, increase efficiency without delays in waiting for rental equipment, staff determined it would be beneficial to increase our own fleet capabilities and add a heavy-duty crane truck to our fleet. Monterey One Water is allowed to use cooperative purchasing and is a member of a Sourcewell. Staff requested a quote from National Auto Fleet Group, also part of Sourcewell, who provided 4 quotes with various options of the same base crane truck. Monterey One Water believes that the lowest cost option of $263,469.35 will meet all our needs. Staff requests that the Recycled Water Committee recommend the Board of Directors approve the purchase of one new Freightliner M2106 10,000-pound capacity heavy-duty crane truck from National Auto Fleet Group in an amount not to exceed $263,469.35. and I would be happy to answer all of your questions.
Thank you very much. Committee member questions, Director Moore.
What's the estimated life of this type of equipment?
Equipment like this basically lasts, I want to say, about 15 years before it becomes physically and morally too old. Plus, it depends on the new environmental regulations. We had several pieces of equipment that's we're not allowed to use any longer because of the new
Emissions.
regulations. Correct.
Right. Well, this looks like a good idea. It'll probably ultimately save us some money if we've been spending $100,000 a year on
Yes.
rentals.
As of, I ask our accounts payables here, and as of 11th of this month, it was $121,575 just on the books.
And one other follow-up. I assume that your maintenance staff can do a lot of the ordinary maintenance on this, but if there is some particular future repair that we don't have the capability to do, is there a repair facility in the county so we don't have to, take it halfway across the state to get it fixed?
Yes, absolutely. We use all kind of local dealerships out of Salinas, for example. This particular, even it's called National, out of Fleet Group, they're out of Watsonville. So we'll have somebody relatively close by.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We'll take it out to the public for comment on 6I. See if anyone wishes to comment. Seeing none, we'll bring it back to the board.
Move approval.
All right, Director Moore motion, second by Stefani, and I'll just say that, it looks just based on a little back of the envelope math here that we're gonna save some money with this, so that's a good thing. So always good. All right, I'll take a voice vote. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, passes unanimously. Thank you very much, Mr. Polakov. And we'll go on to, I think, our last item, 6J.
200.
Okay, page 200 to 565. So
200, yeah.
365 pages,
All right.
this from me.
No more looking at you. I don't have to look at my pages anymore. Thank you.
Yes.
Appreciate it.
So, yes, Chair Smith, members of the committee, again, Bob Holden, Principal Engineer. I just mentioned that the board approved the outfall capacity negotiation cooperation and funding agreement with CalAm in September of 2023. So with two tasks, the outfall improvements, which previous agenda item F, and the NPDES permit, this item. So a report of waste discharge, or ROWD, is essentially an application for an NPDES permit. The board authorized staff to submit the ROWD in September 2024, while accepting CalAm's offer to submit a technical and environmental analysis of a larger brine storage pond. That CalAm report on brine storage is attachment 2. In January 2025, the regional board indicated that the ROWD was incomplete. That's their letter is in attachment 1, mostly due to the one-of-a-kind pressure relief structure, which I showed you an animated sort of view of it, the board last time, at the end of the outfall. CalAm's consultant, with extensive technical involvement by Trestle Technologies and Larry Walker Associates, came up with an alternate project which would not require the massive structure. The responses to the regional board's incomplete notice are found in the cover letter, which is attachment 3. So everything in this amended ROWD is new except for the aerial map, attachment 10. So everything else is done. And Chai, if you could show that one slide. Just wanted to show, so what's changed since you approved sending this out at the end of September. Yes. So ROWD, that's what you approved in September, and the amended ROWD is what have for you now. So so this new one then removes or eliminates the need for the pressure relief structure. It's a major thing. It also removes the need for an additional pipe two additional diffusers, a rather large concrete thrust block, and a rather complicated steel door. Those are all eliminated. Whereas the previous ROWD removed most of the end-gate, making the thrust block and the door necessary. This one will only add a gasket to the bottom of the gate. Previously, we had to use all 168 of the existing diffuser ports for the 60-degree rising diffuser ports. In this case, we only need 158. So we'll still have additional plugged diffuser ports available for future expansions. The other change is that previously the minimum brine delivery discharge rate was 3.35 million gallons a day. Because of the change in diffusers and this whole new proposed project, the minimum discharge rate would be 5.8 million gallons a day. And one of the results of that that change is that CalAm is in the process of looking at doubling the size of their brine storage so that it would be, they could store that amount to be able to discharge it all in one day. So the fiscal impact is really, there's none for the board. All the consultants and staff fees to prepare this document are paid for by CalAm. The regional board's review costs are part of what M1W pays for its current NPDES permit. If the permit is amended, M1W's annual fee would be increased by about $60,700 a year based on the flow, the brine added to our flow. And that would be paid for, that additional amount would be paid for by CalAm. So I ask that this committee recommend that the board authorize submittal of the amended ROWD, report of waste discharge, to the Regional Water Quality Control Board. I'd be happy to answer questions.
Thank you, Mr. Holden. Committee member questions? Director Moore, Williamson?
We're the same.
We're twins.
We're brothers.
Exactly alike, identical over there.
How does our agenda with the getting the approval, how does that impact or interfere with the approval of our permits for the expansion project?
Yeah, unrelated.
Okay.
So our permits for the expansion project will continue to move forward and are moving forward, which is nice. This is a separate issue from a discharge perspective.
Okay. I made that assumption when asking the question. I'm just wondering if somehow they impact each other as far as our prioritization of agenda items in front of the regional board, but it seems like they're both flowing kind of separately and they have no impact on each other.
In terms of the regional board, they've already approved our expansion NPDES permit. So,
Bob, can I elaborate a little bit? There's two parts to the permitting of the expansion of Pure Water Monterey. One is the NPDES permit to accommodate the changed mix of reverse osmosis concentrate in our discharge. That NPDES permit has already been approved last fall. There's another part to that called water recycling requirements that need to be updated. There's a separate team at the Regional Water Quality Control Board focused on that.
Okay.
There's a different type of scientists and it's a different type of permit.
Okay.
That particular permit is scheduled to be considered by the Water Quality Control Board in October. of this year. So it's on track. We have no reason to believe that the submittal of this amended report of waste discharge would interfere with that process.
Awesome.
This will be a long process, assuming the board approves this amended report of waste discharge and we submit it in July. It could be a year-long process.
Sure.
Will be a lot of back and forth between the technical staff at the water board and Bob and his team to refine elements of the permit.
Absolutely. So got to get it
Tyler,
right. Make sure we keep the community safe.
And we did have discussions with Cal-Am and the regional board and our staff in terms of that sequencing, because you're absolutely right. There's a lot of permit stuff flowing through them. So we made sure that, as Matt mentioned, that Pure Water Monterey was down its path prior to throwing more stuff at the regional board.
Absolutely. Okay. Thank you for this. A question for Bob. You were describing the changes from the original to the amended. And the main thing that sticks out of it, at least for me, is the pressure.
Pressure relief
The pressure.
structure.
Yep. So could you describe a little bit more of why those changes are occurring, what the impacts to those changes are as far as overall costs of the project, safety, why?
Right. So, in terms of cost, again, this would be a Cal-Am cost. So, I mean, that's, but yes, it would have been quite expensive. And it would have been probably require additional environmental review and stuff. Brand new concept, untried so far in the real world, as far as we know. So, I mean, that was the main area that the regional board had concerns about in their incomplete letter. So, so Cal-Am and our consultants worked really hard to come up with something that would be what they expect, what the kind of normal. And as a result, all we need to do to is just put this one little gasket on the bottom of the end gate and convert 129 existing diffuser ports, just put in a different diffuser that angles up, and then some more that are just existing diffuser ports that are plugged now that we'll just put another diffuser with a steel plate. And anyway, it's very much simpler process, and it'll be very much cheaper, very much quicker to build.
I guess as a follow-up, why were we looking at the pressure system in the first place? I'm assuming, as been alluded to in the presentation, it's newer technology, but is there greater safety, flexibility for the project in that technology, which is why we looked at it in the first place? Or
we looked at it to protect our pipe. Our pipe was had been tested at 25 feet of head pressure, and we wanted to make sure that that was not exceeded. So that's why they had to have this pressure reducing or relief structure to reduce the pressure so that we wouldn't exceed the structural limits of the existing pipe. So, yeah, so we came up with that. Part of the reason we came up with the pressure relief structure was to be able to try to reduce the amount of brine storage necessary. Again, we're able to discharge at 3.35 MTD instead of 5.8. But yeah, there are too many issues. And so Cal-Am certainly jumped behind the idea of coming up with, well, a much better solution.
So, Bob, just to try to get to Tyler's question a little more, one of the main changes is the expanded brine storage, which
yes,
allows the pumping rates to change. So therefore, you didn't need that structure.
But it seems like that's that was a result of the change of us making this change. So for some reason, we're going from this structure, which we thought was a superior option.
It
for the
was
project.
because I don't think Cal-Am wanted to have a larger brine storage facility.
Okay. Okay.
And I think back then in September of 24, when Matt brought it up going, hey, it'd be great to consider that. After considering the larger brine storage, it allowed the hydraulics of the system to reduce the pressure, not threaten the pipe. And we get rid of that little cartoony pressure release valve.
I liked it. It was cool.
No comments. So we have a solution now, which frankly is much more simpler and better for our infrastructure. Cal-Am will have to do more work on their site for brine storage though.
Okay. And then one last question, hopefully, why did Cal-Am not want a larger brine storage in the first place?
Well, I don't know. Do we want to ask Cal-Am? Yes.
Yeah, it was simply a cost issue, just trying to reduce expenses on our plant. But, through this whole process, we realize it's probably beneficial for all of us, not only for, reducing the pressure relief structure, but it provides us with operational redundancy to operate our plant. So we can take one pond down, clean it or whatever. So I think it provides more benefits than just this.
Well, and it sounds like it's something that's easier to maintain too. So, yeah.
The overall.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely.
All right. Thank you. That's it for me.
Thank you, Chair and Mayor Williamson.
Get it right. I'm just playing. I'm just kidding.
Vice Chair or former Vice Chair Moore.
So
Former Chair, yeah.
if you would, there's something counterintuitive in this that I hope you can explain to me in engineering terms. So with the pressure relief valve, there was less water in terms of daily input into the outfall as a maximum. So why would less water create a higher potential for pressure?
It was less water minimum, less flow rate minimum of brine, 3.35 million gallons a day. Whereas now we're going to need 5.8 or more million gallons a day.
So isn't that going to increase the pressure on the structure?
So, right. So, no, because we made the rubber for the diffusers less
restrictive.
More restrictive.
Yeah. No,
less restrictive.
Less restrictive.
Soft flows to go out at a lower
Softer.
pressure.
Right. So the diffusers open wider, bigger opening, so that lowers the pressure.
So you're going to be changing out 150 plus diffusers with
158. Well,
158 with new material, different
right.
design, and so forth.
Right.
Somebody's going to get a lot of dive time.
Surprisingly, yes, they're really very easy to the existing ones, 129. We do replace them periodically. They get torn by anchors or other things. And last time we did it, it took about less than half hour, I think, to clean it all off, take off the bolts, take off the steel plate, take out the diffuser, put in the new one, put it back on and attach it all up.
Half an hour per diffuser.
Per diffuser. But
Times
that's
158. So
that is really actually
a lot of dive time for somebody.
But that's remarkably fast in looking at this little.
It's remarkably fast. Yes. And yes, the dive crew would be, they'd have maybe half a dozen divers so that they can get a lot done in a day.
On page 213 of the board packet, and of course, my eyes aren't the way they used to be, but that's the proposed desal plant site for Cal-Am north of Charlie Benson, north of Charlie Benson, correct? So
mine only printed out halfway.
Well,
Is that, are you looking at the whole thing there, Tom?
I'm looking at the digital board packet.
Which is the whole thing. It's the whole.
Yeah, I'm on page
We didn't get the whole
213.
printout.
so I didn't bring the whole packet. So,
Well, here's my
I'm sure it
question.
is. It's right there on Charlie Benson Way, just next to the.
Is this drawing showing the expanded brine storage footprint or the original brine storage?
That shows the original. They're in the design phase. What you got is attachment 2 is the environmental review of doubling the storage, but they haven't completed the.
And all of
design.
that storage will remain on their property north of Charlie Benson.
It'll remain on their property, and the extra dirt removed from that will remain on their property. It's all explained how, why there's.
And then will this eliminate the need for a brine mixing structure on our property?
No.
Or is that a separate?
That's separate.
Totally separate. So what
Okay.
the brine mixing structure, yeah, I mean, this brine is twice salinity of seawater. So, I mean, it's hard to get it to mix well with the water. So the brine mixing structure will have a series of baffles that'll provide a nice pool of water. And then the brine will come from 20 feet or plus up and shoot right down into it to get a lot of turbulent mixing.
And that'll be the facility to obtain dilution of the brine.
Dilution, yes. And yes, a nice, well-mixed effluent then that we will monitor with downstream.
Right. Okay, thank you.
Any, one out in the public online wishing to comment on item 6J, the amended report of waste discharge? Anyone in chambers? Seeing none, bring back to the board for action, or the committee.
I'll move approval of staff recommendation.
A motion by Stefani,
Second.
second by Williamson.
Yes, that was a second. Sorry.
Okay. Any further discussion? Hearing none, take a voice vote. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Passes unanimously. Thank you very much. We'll go to staff reports.
So Nick, just a couple quick things. One is, so you approved the budget early in the month. Thank you so much. Now we're starting to see the effects of it. And just now it was plus a little under $2.5 million that you are recommending to the board for approval. Thank you so much because of that needed infrastructure improvements and rehab, not only at the treatment plant, but throughout our field services area as well. In the coming year, you will see more contracts and stuff coming out of engineering. So this is sort of a theme we're going to have for hopefully the next 10 years of investing in that infrastructure and rehabbing it so it is more reliable. Second thing, just as a brief update, I had a request from a professor at UC Berkeley to come down for a tour on July 2nd, still coordinating it, but it's just another testament to what we have out there at the treatment plant. This time, not Pure Water Monterey, but more on the ag side of things, as agricultural reuse is getting, frankly, more needed and popular throughout the country and the world. And then lastly, I just wanted to update you that Pure Water Monterey for this fiscal year went over 3,500 acre feet. So that which is contractually obligated and is continuing to produce through the end of this month to go into the reserve account. So it's clocking along as anticipated. With that.
Which I think is remarkable considering that we've been in active construction of an expansion of that facility. It's, I think, a minor miracle that we were able to meet that goal. So
Additional good points.
For my staff report, I would like to introduce Kota Nishiguchi. Kota is our brand new assistant engineer. He started on Monday. Kota has his bachelor's degree in civil and environmental engineering from UC Davis. He went up to Washington State to obtain his master's degree in civil and environmental engineering at the University of Washington. He started his early career as a consultant, but in recent years, he has been working for King County, Washington, in a very large treatment plant that serves the greater Seattle area. It's about a 300 million gallon per day capacity plant, so like a whole order of magnitude larger than the plant that we run, working as a process engineer in that plant. Kota, being raised in San Diego County, he had expressed a desire to come back to California, but also to really get involved in classic project management, running the types of projects that we do. And so we're really happy to have Kota joining our agency. I will highlight Kota is really a man after my own heart. He has a particular interest and expertise in the solids management side of wastewater treatment plants, which I think is really underappreciated, but is really important for the health and performance of wastewater treatment. And so I'm really happy to have Kota involved. You'll hear about a project that it's really a major new initiative for the engineering group we call solids handling and resource recovery improvements. We're having a recommendation for award of a design contract coming to you in July. We anticipate that Kota will be involved in managing that project with us. So would you like to say anything?
Sure. Yeah, Matt has captured pretty much everything I could possibly say about myself. So all I have to say is I'm happy to join the team.
Welcome.
Welcome.
Good to have you. Awesome. Thank you so much. Any other, Tammy?
Yes, so I'd like to give a couple quick updates. One is we are going to be co-hosting a meeting on Friday, tomorrow afternoon, for the growers and irrigators with WRA. Basically, we have a program that can take two different apps. One is what's ordered that Jess takes care of as far as the growers, and then the RMUs, which was a project that instrument that Daryl's group had installed. And so you can basically see for each grower's turnout what they ordered and what they used. And right now, they're not as accurate as we would like them to be. So that meeting is tomorrow at 1 o'clock. As far as what's being delivered to CSIP, we're basically delivering about 30 MGD, 17 from the river, which is awesome, and about 13 from SVRP. The city has requested, the city of Salinas, we were taking 1.5 MGD from Pond 3 to help them out with their freeboard, which all of it was going out to the outfall. They requested earlier the week to reduce that down to 1 MGD. So we started that 2 days ago. The next thing is Paul already talked about it. We already met the water purchase agreement for pure water, and everything the last 2 weeks will be put in reserve. And then right now the lab is on day 3 of a 3-day inspection, which is a requirement for our ELAP certificate, and they're probably being debriefed by the inspector right now. And then I'd like to thank our team who was here as far as the staff reports. As you can see, we worked hard while Paul was away so we could spend some money and buy some needed items. So I'd like to thank the team for closing out fiscal year 25 with a bang, and appreciate their staff reports coming up in front of you guys is for some their very first time. So I appreciate your patience, and I appreciate your support in approving all of the items spent.
I was pointing out to Tammy over here that she signed for me in multiple places on buying all this stuff.
Right here.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Any further reports? Committee member reports? Yes, go ahead. Director Moore.
So for many of you, this may be redundant because I realize that most of the board of directors meetings of Reno Coast Water District go viral. So you've seen them, I have no doubt.
TikTok.
At the recent meeting, staff reported to the board about a project we're engaging on, in which I learned a new acronym, WUI. WUI, which stands for Wildland Urban Interface. And Marina Coast's service area services East Garrison, which is in the Wildland Urban Interface, and also a good chunk of the Ord military community, in particular up near our recycled water tank. That's also Wildland Urban Interface. So staff thought that in light of what had transpired in Southern California, where they ran out of water to, in particular, fight urban fires at some elevation. So we're engaging in a fairly large project to analyze our system for its ability to deliver water to a major fire event coming out of the wildlands. And we are going to engage all of the various fire chiefs and their facilities and their staffs that might possibly be responding to such a fire in Marina Coast's service area. And we're actually going to go out and hot test our system to, not failure, of course, because we're a no-fail system, but maybe get close. I mention this because it occurs to me that in a major catastrophe, we may need to tap recycled water that's in that tank up there and perhaps tap the ability of Pure Water Monterey to deliver water from the plant into fire safety systems. So if you haven't seen the report, it's online with the board packet, and I would certainly encourage staff to have a conversation with our general manager if you're interested. And that goes for any of our members, if you're interested in participating in this effort, because we'd like to go above and beyond just the ordinary house fire delivery capabilities, given what's happening and what has happened in California. So that's my report. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chair Williamson.
To that, and not to make this an agenda item, but it would be good to connect with the Water Management District, the Monterey Peninsula Water Management District, for partnership on that. I think it's a really great opportunity because our jurisdictions are neighboring each other. If something happens in one, it's very much easy for it to impact the other. So just for whatever that's worth, what I wanted to share was gratitude to staff for things that you do all the time, of course, but in particular for today's meeting, I appreciated hearing from new voices, and it kind of helps us see who's out there doing the work. So just appreciate and kudos to the courage to come and speak in front of the committee today. Thank you.
Who would
Thank
know
you very
that
much.
Williamson works in HR?
Appreciate you. It's true though. It's true.
So yeah, I'd like to also thank all the staff members that came in that always come to every meeting, but also those that came for the first time today. Thank you so much. And that's it. I think that's it. We're at adjournment. Thank you very much, everyone. Have a good rest of the day.